Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Today is Thursday, 27th of September, year 2007. We are discussing today Alagaddupama Sutta. Alagadda is water snake. This is very famous discourse, and this has been translated into many languages, and many people have written articles, even booklets on this subject, this particular sutta, because it is so important. Sometimes this is used as the theme of Buddha's teaching. This is called Alagaddupama. Alagaddupama means method of teaching Dhamma, just like catching snakes. So, we will explain it later on why Buddha used this simile. And there was a man, a bhikkhu called Aritta. He comes from a family whose business was killing vultures. Gadda is vulture, Badhi means destroying, killing. Pubba means the nature of the work. So Gadda, Badhi, Pubba means those who kill, those whose practice was killing vultures. He comes from that family tradition. This particular monk challenged the Buddha. He said, as I understand the Dhamma taught by the Blessed One, those things called obstructions by the Blessed One are not able to obstruct one who engages in them. You know, he thought Buddha made a mistake by telling there are certain things which obstruct our attainment of liberation. So he thought it is not so. So there is a speculative view about his view. Why he thought that way? Why this Aritta thought that way? Because they, according to speculative views and commentarial explanations, that Aritta knew lay people attaining enlightenment, stream entry, once returner, never returner, even arahanthood. Although they died after attainment of arahanthood, they attain arahanthood as lay people. What are the things that obstruct the attainment of enlightenment? Greed, hatred, delusion, and so forth. And of course, lay people have their business, they have families. Naturally, when they have families and business, desire is there. Attachment to families, attachment to business, and so forth. With all these things, they attain stages of enlightenment. Then how come Buddha said that with desire, clinging, craving, attachment, one cannot attain enlightenment? Here there are people who have already attained it. This was his view, reason for believing that what Buddha said obstructions are not really obstructions. But of course he has not taken into account they have to give up greed, hatred and delusion to attain enlightenment. Although they were lay people, even the lay people are able to give up greed, hatred and delusion. He did not take that into account. No lay person or monastic can attain any stage of enlightenment without getting rid of the first level, is to get rid of the attachment to rites and rituals. That is an attachment. You have to give up that attachment. You have to give up the wrong view of permanent self, and you have to give up your doubt. These are the things that Buddha said, if you hold on to them, you cannot attain enlightenment. Here you are. You got to give up these three to attain even the first level of enlightenment. Second, if you want to attain the second level of enlightenment, you got to let go of the gross part of your greed and hatred. While keeping gross part of greed and hatred, you cannot attain even the second level of enlightenment. Even the lay people who have hatred and greed, they must give up their gross part of greed and hatred to attain the second level of enlightenment. And when you attain the third level of enlightenment, you got to destroy them completely. Greed and hatred. Even as a lay person. When you attain full enlightenment, you have to give up remaining 5 fetters. Desire for existing in fine material form, desire for existing in immaterial form, desire for existing in the restlessness and worry, and conceit, pride, asmimana, aham, I maker, ahankara, and ignorance. Even as a lay person, you have to give up those things. As soon as you give up those things, you attain the full enlightenment, and then you cannot live household life. Because household life you cannot live, because when you give up these things, you cannot operate in your business, nor can you maintain your family, because your mind is completely 100%, 180-degree turn around. So therefore, you leave home and become monastic or die. That happens naturally. Not you commit suicide, but you are almost on the verge of death when you attain that level. So Arita refuted this and challenged the Buddha. So this is even against Vinaya of Buddhist monks and nuns. In Vinaya rule, there are 2 rules, 68 and 69 in Vinaya book. They are called Pachitya. So the other monks tried to persuade him not to misrepresent the Buddha. Abba Chikkati. Abba Chikka means misrepresenting the Buddha. They tried to persuade him, my friend Arita, do not say so, do not misrepresent the Blessed One. It is not good to misrepresent the Blessed One. The Blessed One has stated how obstructive things are, obstructions, and how they are able to obstruct one who engages in them. The gratification, the much suffering, the The Blessed One has stated how sensual pleasures provide little gratification, much suffering, and much despair, and how great is the danger in them. With the simile of skeleton, this is very important. There are 10 similes these monks brought out, which Buddha himself has used. 7 of them are used in Potila Sutta, Potiliya Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya, and 3 more are here. The skeleton is not really a skeleton. Suppose there is a dog hungry. For a long time this dog did not have food. He is very hungry. He is running around, sniffing this, sniffing that, looking for food. And then he happens to pass by a butcher shop. The butcher will scrape off every tiny little bit of meat from the bone, from bone of an animal that he slaughtered, and scraped off every tiny little flesh. But the bone still has blood smeared. He, just to get rid of this hungry dog, he throws it out. When he tosses it out, this dog runs at it and starts licking. He keeps licking until his blood from his mouth comes out. And he never is satisfied because there is no meat to eat. Buddha says sensual pleasure is like that. No matter how hard you try to satisfy it, you can never satisfy. Very good simile. And Buddha said, therefore, the bhikkhus try to persuade this man. This is one of the similes that Buddha used to illustrate the difficulty and impossibility of satisfying sensual pleasures. The second simile is the piece of meat. That is, suppose there is a bird, hawk or vulture or so forth, picked up a little meat from somewhere and flies. When he flies in the sky, all other birds of the same kind come after him, pecking on him, try to snatch this piece of meat from his bill. He would not let go. If he does not let go of this piece of meat, other birds will attack him and injure him. They even might kill him to get this piece of meat. Because this is a common thing that everybody fights for sensual pleasure. Everybody fights for it, to grab it, get hold of it, and have pleasure. Buddha said, this bhikkhu said, this is how Buddha explained sensual pleasure. Very difficult, it is common to all beings. The third simile is simile of the grass torch. You are carrying a burning grass torch in your hand and running against the wind. The wind is blowing towards you. You are holding it and running. So the flame will burn the torch and burn you too. Similarly, this will burn you out. Next simile is pit of coals. Suppose there is a very high pit of charcoal burning with burning ember, and if somebody wants to live, doesn't want to die, and 2, 3 other people, very hefty people, come and try to drag him to the charcoal pit, he will twist and turn to run away because he knows the charcoal pit is burning. This is another simile. Next simile is dream. When enjoying sensual pleasures, enjoying, turn back and see, you have gained nothing. You have achieved nothing. It is just like a dream. Or dreaming for the future. I will have sensual pleasure in this way, and this way, and this way, and this way. You can never fulfill that. Next simile is borrowed goods. That also is very interesting simile. Suppose you borrowed a very good, very expensive pair of suit, 3-piece suit, and you go displaying to others and they saw you wearing this. Somebody might say, "Gee, this man is very rich. See, the kind of suit is the $5,000. He must be very rich." So while they were appreciating and admiring your clothes, the one who lent it to you will come out and say, I have to get this, I have to loan it to somebody else. Give it to me. So in front of all these people, he makes you embarrassed and take it away. So this pleasure is like that. Buddha said. And these monks repeated. And the next simile is fruits on a tree. Suppose there is a tree laden with fruit, full of fruits, ripe, juicy, sweet, very attractive, good color. And you climb the tree and start eating. Then another man comes, he looks up, and there are a lot of fruits, but he cannot climb the tree. But he has an axe. He started cutting down the tree. If you do not get down the tree as quickly as possible, he will fell you as well as the tree, and you will be injured, break your legs, hands and so forth, or even die. Similarly, if somebody does not realize and give it up, that is how what happens to the person. Next simile is butcher's knife. And a butcher's knife is very sharp, and it has blood. If somebody were to lick that, he has to do it very carefully, because otherwise he will sever his throat, his tongue, because the blade is very sharp. Another simile is snake's head. If you don't hold it properly, you get into trouble. But that is not the title of this book, of this sutta. Sutta's title is different. Buddha explained it later on. So, these monks try to persuade Arita to give up his pernicious view, wrong view, which misrepresent the Buddha. Since they could not persuade him to give it up, finally they themselves went to see the Buddha and reported this to him. Then Buddha sent a bhikkhu and asked him to come and see the Buddha. Then when he came, Buddha asked him, Aritta, is it true that the following pernicious view has arisen in you, as I understood the Dhamma taught by the Blessed One? Those things called obstructions by the Blessed One are not able to obstruct one who engages in them. When Buddha asked him this question, Aritta, although he was very, very stubborn, he was honest. He said, exactly so. He did not say, yes sir, he said, exactly so. Not simply said yes. Exactly so, Venerable Sir. As I understand Dhamma taught by the Blessed One, right in front of the Buddha he says, this is what you taught. Those things called obstructions by the Blessed One are not able to obstruct one who engages in them. So, now here, Buddha word Moga Purisa in what do you call that, Moliya Phaguna, in the Sutta we discussed yesterday, in Alagaddupama Sutta, Simile of Skeleton, Buddha addressed Moliya Phaguna not in this way. He did not call him Moga Purisa. He said, Moliya Phaguna, didn't you leave home with faith, devotion? This he did not call him Moga Purisa. He simply like very softly, gently, he spoke to him. You know, in that one discourse where Buddha said that he taught Dhamma very softly, just like a horse trainer. Buddha asked a horse trainer, how do you train horses? He said, I speak to them very softly, gently, kindly, and if they don't listen, then I use little harsh method, rough method, talking to them very roughly, and if I cannot train them by using rough language, then I have to make money out of these horses. If they don't obey me, what is the use of keeping these horses? I kill them, horse trainer said. Then he asked the Buddha, how do you train your disciples? The Buddha said, I also use the same way. I use very soft method. If they don't listen to the soft method, I use the little rough, harsh measures. If they don't listen to that, I kill them. Horse trainer said, do you kill really? How can you kill? Then Buddha told him the way how he killed. He said, I boycott him and ask all the entire community of bhikkhus and bhikkhunis to boycott him, not to talk to him, not to admonish him. Nothing, just leave him alone. Don't invite him for meals to eat with you. Just leave him alone. When somebody comes from families to an unknown community, and if that person were to be boycotted by others, how that person feels? It is just like killing. And that is the harshest method that Buddha used to train somebody. He did that to one bhikkhu called Channa. And Channa finally became so meek and obedient, and he learned the Dhamma, finally even attained enlightenment. So, this is the second method Buddha used. Harshly, calling him Moga Purisa. Moga Purusa means you are a foolish man. To whom have I ever known me to teach the Dhamma in this way? Misguided man, have I not stated in many ways how obstructive things are obstructions? So Buddha repeated the same thing that these bhikkhus mentioned. I taught the Dhamma in many ways and mentioned those things are obstructing. Really obstruct. You cannot have cake and eat at the same time. So, then the Buddha addressed these other monks and they asked them, Bhikkhus, what do you think? Has this Bhikkhu Arita former of the vulture killer kindled even a spark of wisdom in the Dhamma and discipline? A spark of wisdom. Has he kindled even one little wisdom, a spark of wisdom? Although he has been a bhikkhu under my dispensation, the bhikkhu said, how could he, Venerable Sir, know Venerable Sir? So, then when Buddha was talking to these bhikkhus, Venerable Arita sat silent, dismayed, with shoulders drooping and head down, glum, meaning thinking, feeling dejected, without response. He was so embarrassed, humiliated, and he couldn't utter a word. Then Buddha again said, misguided man, you will be recognized by your own pernicious view. I shall question the bhikkhus on this matter. Now you go to history. You go to history. And that is why we are talking about him even today, 2600 years later, we are still talking about Arita. So that is why the Buddha said, you will be known for this. Bhikkhus, do you understand the Dhamma taught by me as this Bhikkhu Arita, formerly of the killer of vultures, does when he represents us by his wrong grasp and injures himself and stores up much demerits? He has acquired much demerits, apunya, akusala. So, Buddha said to bhikkhus, okay, when Buddha asked bhikkhus, do you also understand the same way as Arita? They said no, and they confirmed what Buddha has already taught earlier about the sense pleasure. Why out of all other defilements Buddha picked up sensual pleasure? Arita was talking about sort of ambiguously without specifying what kind of things can obstruct. Hatred can obstruct, jealousy can obstruct, ignorance can obstruct. But Buddha picked only one, that is greed. Why is that? Because greed is the cause of suffering. He wanted to hit the nail right spot. He wanted to talk about greed, which is the cause of suffering, out of all other defilements. When the bhikkhus confirmed what the Buddha taught earlier, Buddha repeated the same thing again. Then he gave a very powerful simile of, this is the title of the discourse taken from this simile. Here, bhikkhus, some misguided man learned the Dhamma, discourses. Now, here we have a list of 9. These are called Navanga Sattu Sasana. Navanga Sattu Sasana, before Buddha's teaching was divided into Sutta, Vinaya, Abhidhamma and so forth. In earlier suttas, entire Dhamma is divided into 9 categories. They are called Navanga Sattu Sasana. The Buddha's dispensation with 9 limbs. What are the 9 limbs? I think it is very good for you to remember. Suttang, Geyang, Veyyakarnang, Gatang, Udanang, Itiuttakang, Jatakang, Abhutadamlang, Vedallang. Let me explain them. Suttang, S-U-T-T-A-M, Suttang, means discourses. Geyang is that which is to be sung or recited. They are called stanzas. Veyyakaranam, Veyya, if you want to write down V-E-Y-Y-A, long A, K-A-R-A-N-A-M, Veyyakaranam, that is exposition, expositions. Gathang, verses, like in Dhammapada. Udanang, U-D, long A, N-M, N-A-M, Udanang. Udana means exclamations, meaning spontaneous expressions. Then, Iti Uttakam, saying, short sayings. Then, Jatakam, Jataka stories, birth stories. And Abhuta Dhammam, marvels, wonderful things, wonders, marvelous things. And Vedallang is catechismic teaching, questions and answers. Like there are 2 of them in Majjhima Nikaya. They are called Chula Vedalla and Mahavedalla. They are like questions and answers. And these are the the limbs of the Buddha's teaching. And the Buddha said, some misguided people learn them. But having learned the Dhamma, they do not examine the meaning of those teachings with wisdom. So the purpose of learning Dhamma is to examine them, to go into the depth of them and learn using one's own wisdom. Not examining the meaning of those teachings with wisdom, they do not gain a reflective acceptance of them. When we learn the Dhamma, examine them, then we reflect on them and then assimilate them, digest. When we digest them, they naturally express themselves through our words and deeds. If we do not learn Dhamma, examine them, digest them, assimilate them, then they will never express through our words and deeds. We remain mere bookworms. We store information, read, just like trash. We read and throw away, just like reading novels, and read and throw away, and pile up a whole list of books that we read, and be satisfied that we have read so many books. But Buddha's teaching is not like that. It must be understood. This is not just mere blind faith, just follow me, just like a flock of sheep. Don't do anything, just follow me, not like that. This is the Dhamma. You got to read, learn, hear, and then think, digest, assimilate, and express through thoughts, words and deeds, molding entire life. When we learn the Dhamma, we use the Dhamma to mold our life, change our life. If we remain the same no matter what we learn, then our learning is just like a spoon. You know, a spoon is very good to serve others, but spoon never tastes food. We must make ourselves like tongue. Instead, they learn the Dhamma only for the sake of criticizing others. That is what many people do. They learn Dhamma and say, you know, so-and-so is doing such and such, but Buddha said such and such. He doesn't follow that. But what about the one who speaks about the person? Does that fellow follow it? No. He just retreat and keep this in stock and use it at appropriate time to attack somebody. For winning a debate, winning in debates, that is very, very popular thing. They use them like lawyers. Everything that lawyers learn, they don't practice, but they use them in lawsuits in court with their own very well made lies to win the case. This is not like that. And they do not experience the good for the sake of which they learn the Dhamma. We learn the Dhamma for the sake of good, to make our life, change the way we think, change the way we speak, change the way we act physically. Those teachings, being wrongly grasped by them, conduce to their harm and suffering for a long time. Why is that? Because of the wrong grasp of those things, those teachings. Then Buddha gives this very famous simile. Suppose a man needing a snake, seeking a snake, wandering in search of a snake, saw a large snake and grasped its coils or its tail. Now most of the snake is gone now, only tail is left. So he runs and catches him from behind, catch him by tail. It would turn back on him and bite his hand or his arm or one of his limbs, and because of that he would come to death or deadly suffering. Why is that? Because of his wrong grasp of the snake. So why do people catch snakes? This must be a poisonous snake, because when if you catch this garden snake, that wouldn't hurt you. Doesn't matter by which part of the body you catch that snake. But this must be a poisonous snake. Why do people catch poisonous snakes? To extract poison. For what? To make medicine. This was not something new. Even those days, people caught snakes to get the venom and use very, very tiny little and dilute it in many other things and give small dosage for people to cure some diseases. Now, Dhamma has this poison. What is the poison in the Dhamma? Poison in the Dhamma is misunderstanding. When we misunderstanding Dhamma, it is very, very much like poison. It poisons the mind. It poisons your mind, and you will have wrong view. And once you have wrong view, once you have poisoned your mind, you can poison the minds of millions of other people, going around and trying to convert people to your wrong, poisonous mind. You know, this is the very famous thing, that when people have poisonous mind, or poisoned mind, they are the ones who, without any hesitation, can kill human beings. Is it not what happened in the World War II? It is not what is happening now among these criminals, terrorists, those who go out to kill. They have a wrong view in the mind. And they believe what they say, what they do is right. So they want to convert everybody to their view. If not, they kill them. So, this is the wonderful simile. If we poison our mind, we kill and suffer. You know, snake poison can poison the body, and if we find a proper anti-venom injection, medicine, and we can cure it very quickly. You either tie that place very quickly until you get proper medicine, and then they will cut that place and remove that blood and give anti-venom medicine and so forth. There is a way to cure it because it is physical. But when the mind is poisoned, there is no way to cure that. No way to cure that. They will destroy millions of other beings before they destroy themselves. Not only in this life, in many countless life in future. You know, when the mind is poisoned, with the poisoned mind, what does it do? We committed mean karmas, very wrong karmas, and we have to suffer for that for many, many, many eons in future. All is because of not understanding the Dhamma correctly, properly. And therefore this simile is a wonderful simile for us to remember. Here bhikkhus, some clansmen, learn the Dhamma. Dhamma discourse. And they, having learned the Dhamma, they examine the meaning of those teachings with wisdom. Examine the meaning of those things with wisdom. They gain reflective acceptance of them. They do not learn the Dhamma for the sake of criticizing others. When we criticize others, we poison others' mind. We make them angry. And for winning in debates, when we win in debates, also we create enemies. That is why Buddha said, Jayang Verang Pasavati, Dukkhan Seti Parajaya, Upasanto Sukhan Seti, Hitva Jaya Parajaya. When you win, you create enemies. Because those who lost will conceive grudge against you. And when you lose, you suffer. Dukkhan Seti Parajayo. Upasanto Sukhan Seti, one who is given up both loss and gain, winning and losing, like in gambling. He is peaceful, upasanta, upasanto, upasanto, upasanta, peaceful. So, the Buddha's teaching, we should learn to make ourselves upasanta, to make ourselves calm and peaceful, not to agitate, not to get excited, not to get upset or angry. Those teachings being rightly grasped by them conduce to their well-being and happiness for long, long time. Why is that? Because of the right grasp of those teachings. Wrong grasp has such a devastating effect on our life. Right grasp has consoling, comforting, harmonious, peaceful effect on our life. So Buddha said, Buddha gave a method of catching snake correctly. He was not a snake catcher, but he was fully enlightened. Sambuddha, therefore he knows everything. Suppose a man needing a snake, seeking a snake, wandering in search of a snake, so a large snake and caught it rightly with a cleft stick. Yes, this is called, Pali word is very good word. Ajapadena dandena. Ajapada means goat's foot. Goat foot has what do you call, divided, split, like a split wood. So Pali word, Ajapadena dandena. Aja means goat. Ajapada means like goat's foot. When he gave the word, it gives the picture in your mind. As soon as you hear the word Ajapada, you know exactly how it should look like. When you use split wood, it can be split very widely, very long, and so forth and so on. It can have a different interpretation. So he used that kind of stick and pressed it right on his neck. And having done so, grasped it tightly by the neck. Once you grasp the snake by its neck, it cannot turn back and sting you, bite you. Then although the snake might wrap its coils round his hand or one of his limbs, still he would not come to death or deadly suffering because of that. Why is that? Because he caught the snake correctly. And Buddha says, therefore, bhikkhus, when you understand the meaning of my statements, remember it accordingly. And when you do not understand the meaning of my statement, then ask either me about it or those bhikkhus who are wise. You see? He has given very beautiful instructions. If you don't understand, ask me questions. Or ask another one, a bhikkhu or even bhikkhuni, who understands it. So, he gives another very famous simile, and some people have written books on this particular simile also, and composed poems and written articles on this simile. Simile of the raft. Buddha said he taught the Dhamma just like taught the Dhamma for us to use like using a raft. Because I shall show you how the Dhamma is similar to a raft, being for the purpose of crossing over, not for the purpose of grasping. This passage is very important passage. If you like to remember, you may remember. Kullupamang vo bhikkhave dhammang dese means nittaranathaya no ganathaya. Kullupamang. Kulla means raft. Vo bhikkhave dhammang desisami. Nittaranathaya no ganathaya. Listen and attend closely to what I shall say, Buddha said. Then he explained how one uses a raft. Suppose somebody is traveling and sees on this side big peril, lot of danger, many animals, they are chasing after you, you are running and running and running. Then you come across a huge, vast span of water, maybe a big river, very wide, but you know the other shore of the river is safe and no peril, no danger. So what you would do, you will look around and find some sticks, ropes, twigs, branches, leaves. You collect them and quickly make a raft and hop on it, and then using your hands and legs. This also is very important simile. Using your hands and legs, you cross the body of water. After crossing the body of water, in order to show your gratitude to the raft that helped you to cross the body of water, what would you do? Buddha asked. Do you carry it on your shoulders, thinking, this raft, I'm so grateful to it. It helped me to cross let me show my gratitude. Do you carry it on your shoulder or head? Buddha said, no. Don't be foolish. Leave it on the shore. Pull it out, leave it on the shore, so that somebody else can use it. Don't cling to it. So, there are several things in this simile also for us to learn. One, when you make the raft and hop on it and simply hug the raft, can it take you across the water, across the river? No. You simply don't hug it. And then you simply sit there without hugging or anything. Just sit. Does it take you Oh no. You got to make effort. 4 limbs used for 4 kinds of effort. 2 hands, 2 legs. You got to use your hands and legs because this is just for you to float. And Dhamma gives you support. But you must, if Dhamma, learning Dhamma, knowing Dhamma, examining Dhamma, and everything is okay, but you got to make an effort to make it work for you. So, using 4-fold effort. And then, the next thing we can learn from the raft, simile, is even after crossing the big body of water, still you do not carry it on your shoulder, hugging, clinging and holding on to it, saying to show your gratitude. You got to leave it behind. So Buddha said, another very pithy statement, we must remember these statements, these are good similes to remember. Kullupamang vo bhikkhave dhamman desitang ajannantehi dhamma pivo pahatabba bhageva adhamma. The translation is, bhikkhus, when you know the Dhamma to be similar to a raft, you should abandon even the teachings. How much more so things contrary to the teachings. I think adhamma is unwholesome Dhamma. Dhamma is wholesome Dhamma. Dhamma is that Buddha taught. Buddha's teaching, Buddha also taught both wholesome Dhamma and unwholesome Dhamma. And when he showed such and such is unwholesome, that is unwholesome. He also taught such and such is wholesome, that is wholesome. So, what helps us to cross the body of water is the wholesome Dhamma. What we left behind is unwholesome Dhamma. So, after crossing over the body of water, we should not hold on even to the wholesome Dhamma that helped us to cross the body of water, let alone unwholesome Dhamma. That means unwholesome Dhamma should be left behind, way far behind, even long before we start practicing wholesome Dhamma. And these are the 2 things we do by using 4-fold effort. We let go of unwholesome Dhamma far behind, just like the hither shore or the river, and reach the other shore using both hands and legs to reach to the safety. And that is using that raft, hands and so forth, is a wholesome Dhamma practice. The thither shore, the other shore is attaining Nibbana, enlightenment. Of course, the Nibbana does not have banks like a river, but this just is a simile. Now then, we should stop here and have a little break and come back for the next part, and we try to finish it today. If not, we continue this afternoon, because I like to spend some time on this Sutta, because it is an extremely important sutta. Lot of Dhamma is there, and also there is a lot of room for misunderstanding, and therefore we spend some more time. All right, now we go to next section, that is on views. Buddha said that there are 6 standpoints of views. These are the 6. Here bhikshus, an untaught ordinary person who has no regard to noble ones and is unskilled and undisciplined in their Dhamma. Now, there are 3 things here. He does not regard for noble ones. He has no skill. He is not disciplined in the noble one's Dhamma. Noble one's Dhamma is the Dhamma that the Buddha taught. Who has no regard for true men. I think it should be a good person, not true man. I don't think it's a Pali word is sappurisa. And the Buddha has defined sappurisa and asappurisa. Good person and evil person. So, good person is the one who does good things to promote peace, happiness, harmony, friendship, warming heart, speaking the truth, speaking kindly, gently, softly, to bring discordant into concordance, disharmony into harmony, those who are divided, trying to bring them together, make them friends and so forth. Person speaks like that. Person thinks like that. Person acts like that. Such a person is called sappurisa. Asappurisa is just the opposite of it. He tries to break the friendship, relationship. They tell lies, they slander, they gossip, they use very spiky, harsh words, and they create disharmony, disunity, no peace. They commit evil deeds, killing, stealing, and all this. Such a person is called evil person. So the Buddha put these two in a juxtaposition. One is a good person, other is evil person. So the word true man, I don't think is correct meaning. And is skilled and undisciplined. So that person does not regard the noble person. Noble person is enlightened person. Good person is the person who is striving to attain enlightenment, on the way to attain enlightenment, because he is doing all good things. So, beautiful Pali words that Buddha used were Arya Savako, Aryanang Adassavi, Aryanang Dassavi, Arya Dhammasa Kovido, Arya Dhamme Suvinito. You see, this person regards for the noble ones, he is skilled in the noble ones' discipline, and he cares for the noble ones' Dhamma. All these are the qualities of noble ones, one who is in the holy or noble state. And sappurisa is the one who is supporting that and also treading the same path for the same goal. And one who does not care for both, noble ones and good person, and their teaching, their discipline, their Dhamma. So Buddha talks about that person first, who has no regard for noble ones and is unskilled and undisciplined in their Dhamma, who has no regard for good person and is unskilled, undisciplined in their Dhamma, regards material form thus: this is mine. This I am. This is myself. He regards feeling thus. So the same thing he regards about the feeling. This is mine. This I am. This is myself. He regards the perception. Perception is recognition. This is mine. This I am. This is myself. He regards the formations. That is sankhara. This is mine. This I am. This is myself. He regards then he regards, everything else is clustered together, put together as one thing to make it five. That is dittang, sutang, mutang, viññātang, pattang, pareshitang, anuvicharitang, manasa. Dittang means seeing, sutang means heard, mutang means sensed, viññātang means cognized, then pattang, encountered, pariyesitang, sought, then manasa, anuvicharitang manasa, mentally pondered. Now, and also considered, this is mine, this is I am, this is myself. And this standpoint for views, namely, that which is the self is the world. After that I shall be permanent, everlasting, eternal, not subject to change. I shall endure as long as eternity. These are the 6 views. What are the 6 views? That person regards body, feeling, perception, volitional formations, these 4, as each of them is counted as one. Then there are 4. And then all others put together as one group, like seen, heard, sensed, cognized, encountered, sought, mentally pondered. Then all of them put together, and with regard to them also the person thinks, this is mine, this is I am, this is myself. And then, this is for this life, 5. And then he thinks, that which is the self is the world after death, the next life. I shall be permanent, everlasting, eternal, not subject to change. This is the 6th. These are the 6 views. Why does he do so? Because he doesn't care for what the noble ones have taught. Noble ones have taught something completely different. That this is not I, this is not myself, this is not mine. That's what they taught. But this person who doesn't pay any attention to them, doesn't care for them, doesn't regard for them, just ignore them. And that is why he is called Putujjana. And that is why he is holding these 6 views. But on the other hand, well-taught noble disciple, who has regard for noble ones and so forth, just the opposite of this, does not regard this is mine, this is myself, this is I am. Nor does he think that this is permanent, eternal, and so forth. Because when he regards the Noble One's teaching, he follows the Noble One's teaching. When you say you regard somebody, you respect somebody, means you follow that person's instructions. If we respect the Buddha and respect what he taught, we must follow his teaching. If we do not follow his teaching, we do not respect the Buddha. You see? This is what this sutta says. We may read it, as Buddha mentioned earlier, to win an argument, to criticize somebody. We may learn the Dhamma, but don't care for the Buddha who taught the Dhamma. Don't care for the Dhamma itself, nor his discipline. If we care for the discipline and the teaching and the Buddha, then we very scrupulously, attentively, mindfully follow the teaching. You see, this is how we honor the Buddha, respect the Buddha, care for him. You see, then what happens? Then another monk who was listening to this sermon asked the Buddha this question: Venerable Sir, can there be an agitation about what is non-existent externally? This seems to be a little confusing because people wonder what sort of things this monk is referring to. See the question again, Venerable Sir, can there be an agitation about what is non-existent externally? In Pali, Siyanuko Bhante Bahidda Ayatis Paritasanaya. Buddha said, there can be bhikkhu. The Blessed One said, here bhikkhu someone thinks, alas, I had it, alas, I have it no longer, alas, may I have it, alas, I do not get it. What does he refer to? That refers to wealth, material wealth. You have wealth, you have something, and I had it, because he used the word, used the past perfect, past tense. I had it. I had wealth. I no longer have it. Because why he used this expression, with exclamation? Because he has been attached to it. When he lost what he had been attached to, he feels sad, agitation. So the bhikkhu asked the Buddha, can there be an agitation about what is non-existent externally? Yes. Agitation can arise, excitement can arise, disappointment can arise when you lose something that you had been attached to. So Buddha said, yes, it is possible. You had it, now you don't have it. Then you think, may I get it? How can I get it? Because you are still attached. Your attachment is still there. Now you don't have it. Then he said, then he sorrows, grieves and laments. He weeps, beating his breast and becomes distraught. That is how there is an agitation about what is non-existent externally. This with regard to external thing. External thing is properties, wealth, money, relatives, friends, husbands, wives, children, houses, all sort of external things, external to oneself. We are attached to them. And when we lose any of them, this is how we feel. Is it not so? Can you say it is not so? Don't we grieve, sorrow, lament, and have experienced a lot of pain, disappointment, distress, agitation, excitement, anger for losing what we had? This is what is called not getting, separating from loved things is suffering. when you love them, attached to them, when you lose them, is suffering. Then the bhikkhu asked, another bhikkhu asked, Venerable Sir, can there be no agitation about what is non-existent externally? Buddha said, there can be bhikkhus. Here a bhikkhu, someone does not think thus, alas, I had it. Who does think like that? Who thinks this way? Who thinks that I had it, now I don't have, I do not get it? Then he is not agitated, excited, grief, lament, and so forth. Who is that? An arahant, enlightened person, because he is the one who has no attachment to any external thing whatsoever. So then the bhikkhu asked the Buddha, this is another very important question. Can there be an agitation about what is non-existent internally? That is the very tricky question. Then Buddha said, there can be, bhikkhu. Here a bhikkhu, someone has the view that that which is the self is the world. After that I shall be permanent, everlasting, eternal, not subject to change. I shall endure as long as eternity. Here he hears the Tathagata or disciples of the Tathagata teaching the Dhamma for the elimination of all standpoints, decisions, observations, adherence, and underlying tendencies, for the stilling of all formations, for the relinquishment of all attachment, for the destruction of craving, for dispassion, for cessation, for nibbana. Now, somebody thinks, I have something permanent, eternal, which will, after my death, persist, continues to exist without changing. It is permanent, eternal, immutable, everlasting. I have something. Then comes the Buddha, or one of his enlightened disciples, and teaches the Dhamma. When he teaches the Dhamma, he teaches the true Dhamma, where he says, there is no such thing, no such thing. Then the one who was thinking that he had something inside will be very upset, disappointed. What the Tathagata teaches is, the Tathagata or one of his disciples, enlightened disciples, teaches the Dhamma for the elimination of all standpoints. That means all views, all decisions, obsessions, adherence, any kind of belief, and underlying tendencies. All these are given in one Pali sentence. This sentence is very beautiful but tongue-twisting. Don't try to imitate. Ditthithana ditthana pariyutthana abhinivesa samungatan. That is the sentence. And this sentence has so many meanings, so many parts. Standpoint, decision, obsessions, adherence, and underlying tendencies, all these are imbibed in this sentence. So when somebody hears this, somebody who has this view that there is permanent, eternal something that exists in himself, will be disappointed, because Buddha said he teaches this Dhamma for the stilling of all formations. All formations means all sankharas. For the relinquishing of all the attachment, upadana, clinging, craving, grasping, for the destruction of craving, for dispassion, for cessation, for nibbana. If something is ceasing, disappearing, destroying, the person will feel very upset, disappointed. And he may say, so I shall be annihilated, so I shall perish, so I shall be no more. Why is that? Because he was holding on to I, which he thought was permanent, eternal. When Buddha said there is no I, he said, oh, what happened to me? I am destroyed. So he gets very upset, disappointed. I have a very simple story. It is not a Buddhist story, but it comes from Sanskrit literature. It's about a fox. I think since this is very deep subject, let me give you a little entertainment by telling you this story. There was a fox who was very, very hungry, and he was going around looking for food, and all of a sudden he heard a huge, big noise. It sounds like a stranded animal somewhere. So he approached. As he was approaching, he heard the sound more distinctly, clearly, and he slowly moved. And when he approached, he saw a very big object. The sound comes from that object. He thought, this must be an animal full of flesh and blood. I can eat whole thing and satisfy my hunger. As he approached, what he saw, what was there actually was a huge drum, big drum. There was a battle, and those who lost the battle left the drum and ran away, and a branch of a tree hit the face of the drum. When wind blew, a branch of a tree hit the face of the drum, making big noise. The drums are like that. So this fox thought this must be a huge animal trapped here. And still he came close and sniffed. He smelled the leather. The drum's face is made of very fine leather. And he really confirmed that this must be an animal. So he convinced, and with tremendous difficulty he bit and bit and bit, and when he bit inside was nothing. Then this fox said something in Sanskrit. Very very learned fox. He said, Purvameva maya jnatang purnametaddhi medasa anupravishya vijnatang yavat charmacha darucha. Before I thought this was full of flesh and blood. When I enter, I found it's just a dry skin and piece of wood. Empty barrel. Nothing inside. Similarly, when we mindfully examine our 5 aggregates, one by one, following the Buddha's instructions, each of them is empty of permanent self. Before we examine, since we don't know how to examine, we think our body is self, our feelings are self, perception is self, volitional formations are self, consciousness is self, but when we mindfully analyze them, following the Buddha's instruction, we will be exactly like this fox. See nothing inside. I think that is enough for today.